DiJonai, DiJonai, you're always in a dirty play. DiJonai, DiJonai, once again, here we are today. Oh, DiJonai, DiJonai, shout out to Ack Nation. You guys ever watch Friday? Of course you guys have. You're smart people. You know Friday, Craig's in the kitchen, Pops is in the kitchen. Craig, how come every time I'm in the kitchen, you in the kitchen? And I'm starting to have that feeling when it comes to DiJonai Carrington and dirty basketball, DiJonai Carrington and flagrant fouls. How come every time I'm watching a flagrant foul, you're committing the foul?
Look at this play.
Whoa!
What is that?
If she would have had extension.
Bro, what is that? You just yanked her down by her hair for no reason. That's like...
It would have come off.
I saw that at the Olympics. Lisa Leslie was playing Lon Jackson in Seoul and got her hunk of her hair.
Imagine being flattened by a brutal clothesline in front of thousands of fans, and the refs just standing there like they're watching a slow-motion highlight reel. That's exactly what went down when DiJonai Carrington delivered a hit so hard it looked like it should come with a warning label. And the wild part? The WNBA stayed completely silent. No call, no statement, nothing. It felt like the league was hoping that if they didn't say anything, maybe no one would notice. But people definitely noticed. And now, everyone's left trying to make sense of one of the most awkward non-responses the league has seen in a long time.
Oh, enough's enough, bro. Enough is enough. WNBA, when are y'all going to do something? When are y'all going to do something? You don't know what I'm talking about? This is what I'm talking about. Dirty DiJonai Carrington back at it again. Miss, I'm not a dirty player. I just never give up on a play. Really? Really? Somebody's gonna get hurt. Somebody is gonna get seriously hurt. And this is ridiculous. This is supposed to be a professional league, WNBA. When are y'all gonna step in?
Folks, this is craziness. You've seen the play by now. She hacks the hell out of Skylar Diggins Smith. Well, Skylar Diggins. Sorry, I had the Smith. My bad. She slides her foot underneath Gabby Williams. That wasn't even called a flagrant foul, even though by rule it is. By rule, it's a flagrant foul. It wasn't even a conversation about it. If it happened, it happened.
It looked like just another regular WNBA game. Two teams, a loud crowd, cameras locked in, everything running as expected. But somewhere in the middle of the action, DiJonai Carrington flipped the script. Because what she delivered wasn't a foul. It wasn't a block. It wasn't even close to a basketball play. It was a full-on, no-hesitation tackle. Something you'd expect on a football field, not a hardwood court. So intense, so physical, it felt like it belonged in a completely different sport. And the wild part? It was the kind of moment that could have easily ended up in a SportsCenter top 10, just maybe not for the reasons anyone expected.
But when we get some different angles of it, you just see how this is clearly, definitely, 100% not a basketball play. Let's take a look.
Up and follow through
We got DiJonai.
signals for the officials that this will likely get upgraded.
DiJonai, did you forget what sport you're playing? You know this is basketball, right?
And then, nothing. No whistle. No foul. No ejection. Just refs standing there like they were buffering at the worst possible moment. It was like watching someone knock over a bookshelf in a quiet library, and instead of panic, everyone just politely applauds and moves on. That's how the so-called Great Disappearing Foul of 2025 began. A moment so obvious, so physical, so hard to ignore, and yet somehow the entire WNBA collective just acted like it never happened. No replay drama, no official explanation, just silence. Like the play got erased in real time, leaving everyone watching to wonder if they imagined the whole thing.
You can't even make this stuff up. DiJonai Carrington is in a crash-out session now. DiJonai Carrington is trying to defend herself now. DiJonai Carrington is trying to tell you that she's not a dirty player. DiJonai Carrington is catching all kinds of backlash from all different YouTubers, including myself. I drop a video. Within an hour, you see that she has a post. And I'm not saying it's because of me. but there are a whole bunch of videos already circulating from the different content creators about that outrageous foul that she committed on Skylar Diggins.
The moment turned into something out of a fever dream. 1 second it was a tight, high-intensity game, Connecticut Sun going up against a tough opponent, every possession feeling like it mattered. The crowd was locked in, tension rising with each play. Then everything flipped. Carrington came flying in with reckless momentum, colliding with an opposing player in a way that stunned everyone watching. The impact echoed through the arena, fans audibly gasping as the player hit the floor and slid like something out of a slow-motion replay gone wrong. And the officials? They stood there, seemingly frozen. No whistle. No immediate call. Just confusion, like they were trying to piece together what they had just witnessed. What followed felt less like a basketball sequence and more like a moment everyone had to double-check in real time, because the reaction on the court didn't match what just happened in front of thousands.
When are y'all gonna step in and do something about this? When y'all gonna step in? This is getting, it's past ridiculous. It is past ridiculous. Look at this nonsense. Look at this nonsense, man. You got DiJonai Carrington today with the Dallas Wings going against the LA Sparks. Look at this play.
Whoa!
What is that?
If she would have had extension.
Bro, what is that? You just yanked her down by her hair for no reason.
The sequence itself is simple, almost clinical. Player A has the ball, player B steps up to defend, and then Carrington commits with full body momentum in a collision that instantly escalates the play beyond a normal basketball contest. What made it stand out wasn't just the contact. It was the reaction, or rather, the lack of one. The whistle never came. The officials, despite being in clear view, didn't stop play, which only added to the confusion among players and fans. Under standard basketball rules, contact that is excessive, dangerous, or clearly beyond a legitimate defensive play is typically penalized. In most leagues, including the WNBA, that would usually fall under a flagrant foul if the contact is deemed unnecessary or overly forceful. A moment like this is exactly the type of situation where officials are expected to step in to maintain control and player safety. Because of that, the silence from the whistle is what made the moment feel so unusual. When a play looks beyond the normal scope of basketball, people expect an immediate stoppage. So when that doesn't happen, it naturally raises questions and sparks debate. At the end of the day, the way a play is interpreted by officials can vary in real time, but the contrast between the level of contact and the lack of a call is what turned this into a widely discussed moment.
To me, I think DiJonai Carrington is doing this to keep her name hot at this point. Just to go out of your way to physically hurt players is crazy. Like, I don't want to hear she play hard, she get into the ball, none of that, bro. Because what she's doing right now is completely just downright unacceptable on so many levels.
This is where the conversation shifts from one play to something bigger: consistency and how officiating is perceived across a league. In the WNBA, like in any professional sport, certain actions are more likely to draw strict penalties: excessive contact, dangerous play, or anything that risks player safety. Those are typically addressed with flagrant fouls, technicals, fines, or even suspensions depending on severity. So when fans feel like similar, or even lighter, incidents have been punished more harshly in the past, it naturally raises questions about consistency. At the same time, not every non-call is necessarily intentional or part of a bigger strategy. Officials make split-second decisions in real time, and interpretations can vary depending on angle, timing, and context. What looks obvious on replay can sometimes be judged differently in the moment. The perception of inconsistency is where things get amplified, especially in today's environment. Social media turns isolated moments into major talking points almost instantly. When a controversial play doesn't get called, fans don't just discuss the call. They compare it to past incidents, build narratives, and amplify the debate across platforms. So whether people see it as a missed call, inconsistency, or something more deliberate, what's undeniable is this: moments like this don't stay on the court anymore. They become part of a much larger conversation about officiating, standards, and how the game is being managed at the highest level.
That's
Next
crazy.
thing you know, it's on the floor.
How are y'all not like
under the basket?
Bro, how is the WNBA letting her get away with this? Look at this. She's going to the, she just grabs her hair and yanks her. Bro, look at this girl's neck. Look at like rookie Sarah Ashley Barker. And the WNBA continues to allow this nonsense.
What you're describing is a mix of perception, frustration, and how quickly narratives form around controversial plays. When something looks obvious to fans but doesn't get called, it creates a gap between what people expect and what they see from officials in real time. Commentary teams are also careful in how they describe these moments. Broadcasters often avoid making definitive statements like, "That was a foul," or "That should be a flagrant," because they don't want to second-guess officials or appear biased. So you'll hear softer language like collision, physical play, or incidental contact. Not because they didn't see it, but because they're choosing neutral phrasing on air. As for official league responses, not every play, especially during a regular game, gets a public statement. Leagues typically only issue reviews, fines, or discipline when a play crosses a certain threshold of severity or when it involves clear violations that warrant further action after the fact. The perception of inconsistency is real in sports discussions, though. Fans often compare similar incidents and feel outcomes don't always match. That's part of a larger, ongoing debate in all professional leagues about officiating standards, transparency, and consistency, not just in the WNBA but across sports in general. At the same time, it's important to separate what's clearly visible from what's officially confirmed. A play that feels obvious to viewers doesn't always lead to post-game action unless the league determines it meets their criteria for review or discipline. That difference is usually where most of the disagreement comes from.
It's no longer a matter of if she's a dirty player. It's a matter of if she's the dirtiest player in the WNBA, and you damn well know who we're talking about. We are talking about DiJonai Carrington, or Dirtbag DiJonai, as I love to call her. Back to her antics. You thought they were only reserved for Caitlin Clark. No. She is Dirty 101.
You're raising a real topic. How fans perceive consistency, accountability, and player safety, but it's important to keep a clear line between opinion and verified facts. Comparisons like, "someone got fined for stepping over a line," or "got a technical for words," are often used in fan discussions, but penalties in professional leagues aren't always directly comparable play to play. Different incidents can fall under different rules, contexts, and referee interpretations. What seems minor in one situation might be treated more seriously depending on game context, intent, or escalation. On the flip side, what you're reacting to, the lack of a whistle or post-game clarification on a physical play, is exactly the kind of moment that fuels debate. When a play looks severe to viewers but doesn't result in a call or review, it naturally leads to questions about consistency and standards. However, saying the league is intentionally ignoring incidents or prioritizing certain players without evidence moves from critique into speculation. Leagues don't publicly comment on every play, and not every hard collision leads to a formal review or statement. That doesn't necessarily mean there's a credibility crisis. It can also reflect the reality of fast-paced officiating and limited post-game communication. Player safety is a priority in professional sports, including the WNBA. That's why there are rules against flagrant fouls, dangerous contact, and unnecessary roughness. Whether a specific play meets those thresholds is determined by officials and, in some cases, later review, not by public reaction alone. The bigger takeaway is this. Moments like these highlight the tension between how the game is officiated in real time and how it's interpreted by fans afterward. That gap is where most of the disagreement comes from.
In fact, the only thing this play screams is, dude, keep DiJonai Carrington far away from my team, man. Keep DiJonai Carrington far away from my team. There's a difference between playing hard and just playing reckless. Playing hard and playing dirty. Playing hard and playing like DiJonai Carrington. There is a huge difference. In the same game, again, folks,
you're clearly trying to highlight a gap between how the moment looked and how it was handled, but it's important to ground this in reality and avoid turning it into assumptions about intent or league behavior. In professional basketball, players don't stop play themselves. That's exactly why referees exist. When something looks like excessive contact, the expectation is that officials will call it, and if they miss it, the league can review it afterward. But not every physical play automatically leads to a flagrant foul, fine, or public statement. A lot depends on what the officials saw in real time and whether the contact is judged as unnecessary, reckless, or intentional. Also, leagues like the WNBA regularly promote values like player safety and respect, but those are broad principles. not guarantees that every controversial moment will be publicly addressed. Most games, even physical ones, go without any post-game league comment unless something crosses a specific threshold for review or discipline. As for reactions from commentators or former players, those can vary widely. Analysts often avoid making strong claims in real time because they don't have access to official reviews, and retired players tend to share opinions based on their own era and interpretation of the game, not necessarily official standards. The core issue here isn't whether a single moment proves a larger agenda. It's that fans saw something they felt deserved a whistle and didn't get one. That mismatch between perception and officiating is what usually drives these discussions in sports.
So once again, DiJonai Ratchet as Carrington is back at it again, being the dirty player that she is. And of course, the Black Clan and Black Clan Panthers have no problem with this dirty play. They're just like, I love DiJonai. She plays so hard. How many dirty plays is this now for the season? Constantly trying to take people out on the court because you got all that ratchet girl energy that you got to release on the court, man. And you know what's funny about this? Remember when she was in practice with Paige breaking all those shots and Paige was clowning her and she was like, I got bad knees, that's why I can't shoot. But you fly through the air like a ratchet raven to go and try to block shots and then just take people out, and now all of a sudden your knees just aren't bad to be able to do this, huh?
Did confirm that one of those flagrant fouls was rescinded, which means to tell me that the WNBA is kind of justifying DiJonai Carrington assaulting these players, bro. But it's just interesting to see how time and time again is like it's starting to become into a habit where every game DiJonai Carrington have a situation. Now, it's one thing to want your name trending and still be in the media and still create some type of publicity, but doing it this way is just not right, bro. To me, I think
what you're describing is a very common reaction when fans feel a play was mishandled, especially in the age of HD replay and social media. When people can slow things down, zoom in, and analyze every frame, moments that might have been judged in a split second by officials get reinterpreted with much more scrutiny. That said, it's important to separate fan perception from official determination. A play can look extremely forceful or even intentional when slowed down, but referees are trained to judge based on real-time factors: positioning, intent, timing, and whether the contact falls within the rules as they're enforced in the moment. What looks like a clear foul in replay isn't always judged the same way live. As for claims about malicious intent or the league underestimating fans, that moves into speculation. There's no confirmed evidence that leagues are intentionally ignoring incidents or trying to suppress them. More often, what you're seeing is the gap between what fans believe should be called and what officials actually call in real time. On the point about consistency and transparency, those are valid topics that get discussed across all sports leagues. Fans want clear standards and clear communication, and leagues do work on improving officiating and review processes over time. But not every play triggers a public explanation, even if it becomes viral. Social media definitely amplifies these moments. Once a clip spreads, it can take on a life of its own. Frame-by-frame breakdowns, strong opinions, comparisons to past calls, all of that adds pressure and visibility, but it doesn't always change how the league officially interprets the play. At the end of the day, the situation you're describing highlights a broader truth in sports. Fans and officials often see the same moment through very different lenses.